There is something very alarming, very scary that has emerged that tells us that it is possible for one of the candidates to interfere with the election results. What does this mean? Or what can this mean? Now, let us first of all understand one thing. As per our Constitution, the results that come from a polling station are final. So what it means is that the results the returning officer will announce from the polling station will immediately go into the national tally. And we all know that there's a saying, the devil is in the details. Yeah. Negative barbs aimed at President Uhuru Kenyatta. And yet President Uhuru Kenyatta is not a candidate for any political post in our upcoming elections. And so, that is the reason why I found it super fascinating that the returning officer for Gatundu South constituency and the deputy returning officer for Gatundu South constituency for any patriotic Kenyan who's looking for a free and fair election, there is something very alarming, very scary that has emerged that tells us that it is possible for one of the candidates to interfere with the election results. Now I'm sure you're wondering what this is. So let me get down to it immediately. According to the list of IEBC returning officers, which was gazetted on April 28, 2022, many people didn't take notice of it. Many people didn't look at that list in detail. But what we see very clearly from that list is that 1 out of every 5 returning officers, wait for this one, hails from the Kalenjin community. In other words, 20% of all returning officers is a Kalenjin. Yeah. Now it gets even more interesting than that. In certain parts of the country, especially in areas of the Mount Kenya region, the returning officers in some constituencies and the deputy returning officer are both from the same community, the Kalenjin community. If you take a look at the returning officer and the deputy returning officer, for instance, in Gatundu South, that is the president's home constituency, they both hail from the Kalenjin community. And the same is repeated in many areas of Kshs and the Mulembe Nation. Now, let us break this down. What does this mean? Or what can this mean? Now, let us first of all understand one thing. As per our Constitution, the results that come from a polling station are final. Nobody can edit them. Nobody can adjust them. Nobody can correct them. Okay? I know most of us know that already. So what it means is that the results the returning officer will announce from the polling station will immediately go into the national tally. And we all know that there's a saying, the devil is in the details. In that excitement of getting the results of the general election, nobody is going to interrogate in great detail at this stage. Even if agents of certain candidates complain to the IEBC, the truth is nothing much can be done after the returning officer announces, posts those results from their constituency. Whatever goes wrong at that stage can only be corrected in a court case, a petition that will be filed after the election results have been announced. Now, if you don't believe where I'm going with this, sample the following. We have seen, it has been made very clear to us, that the Deputy President is very vengeful towards President Uhuru Kenyatta. He has spent a lot of time and resources to win over the President's home ground, the Mount Kenya region. We all know that. The Deputy President has taken every opportunity he can get to embarrass the President. Even in the Deputy Presidential debate yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua took a lot of time to try and sneak in as much as possible negative barbs aimed at the President, aimed at President Uhuru Kenyatta. And yet President Uhuru Kenyatta is not a candidate for any political post in our upcoming elections. Is he? Please correct me if I'm wrong. And so, that is the reason why I found it super fascinating that the returning officer for Gatundu South constituency and the deputy returning officer for Gatundu South constituency all hail from the same community, the Kalenjin community. Now, let us be honest with ourselves. Taking all that information into account, even if you're a supporter of UDA, even if you're on the Kenya Kwanza side, if you're to be totally honest with yourself, wouldn't you be suspicious? Very suspicious? Of course. Bottom line, these statistics we've discussed on this show are very alarming. And the red flags that tell us that it is possible that somebody outside government may actually be able to interfere with the results of our upcoming elections. About the latest weekly intelligence briefings. Now, I've covered in these WIBs before the story about intelligence officers being dispatched from Kenya to all corners of the world, but more specifically to China. Their mission? They went to collect evidence. According to impeccable sources, this problem started when it was brought to the President's attention. This happened, according to my information, around mid-2016. Rather, that is when the signs of a strained relationship started appearing. The information was most probably brought to the attention of the President much earlier than that. Let us say early 2016. And at the time this information was brought to his attention, it was clear that the President was in a very vulnerable position. If I can use the American expression, what actually happened is that the Deputy President blindsided the President. Now, it is important to remember, those who take careful note of what is happening in the country, that around mid-2016, a man called David Murathe came out with a rather strange statement, which many Kenyans ignored.